So ever since 2017, Virgil Abloh has consistently been at the forefront of hype when it comes to Nike sneaker releases. Year after year, he releases more and more off-white Nike collaborations that always draw crazy resale prices. And I guess it's fair to say that while all his sneakers are relatively similar, especially when it comes to theme, they all have had something different and new about them. But with this release, Off-White and Nike really decided to change things up. And when I say change things up, I don't mean by changing up the design, I mean by changing up the way that we think about sneaker releases. What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler, and in today's video I'm reviewing one of the Off-White Nike Dunk Low, the 50s. So I actually borrowed this shoe from my friend and also co-founder of our sock brand Apothecary, Osman. And I gotta be honest, I'm so jealous that not only did he get the Sakai's that we just reviewed, but he also got exclusive access to these, while I got literally nothing. And reviewing these shoes is just like rubbing salt in the wound, because I didn't think I was gonna like these as much as I do, and I hate how much I like them. I really do. Man, these are fire. Before we dive into the video though, thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time watching my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell down below if you haven't yet. And also make sure to give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter at @RealSethFowler. But man, for me this shoe is like the epitome of, I didn't know how much I would like it until I had it in hand, and now that I have it in hand, I'm in love with it. It sucks. So as I was alluding in the intro of the video, the release of this sneaker is actually one of the most interesting parts of this collaboration. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the shoe is great and I think it's an awesome sneaker, but at the end of the day, the release is really the most unique part about this collaboration. So essentially, the idea behind this collaboration was that there were 50 different colorways of the same sneaker, which at face value sounds insane. Like 50 different colors of a sneaker, that sounds like it would take years to release. But when you really peel back a couple layers, you realize that there's actually only really 3 main colorways of this shoe. So each colorway or each shoe in this collaboration features a lot number. So there are 50 lots because there are 50 different colorways. Lot 1 of 50, or the first sneaker in the collaboration, is an almost entirely white sneaker with like a yellowish or aged outsole. Then jumping all the way to the end of the collaboration, lot 50, or the 50th pair in the collaboration, is an entirely black sneaker with purple accents. But this is where it gets interesting. Every sneaker in between the first sneaker and the 50th sneaker, so 2 through 49, are essentially variants of this shoe. They all feature essentially the same exact color blocking on all the major details, namely the upper, the midsole, and the outsole. And where each shoe differs from one another is the materials used on the upper and the colors of the accents. So I guess to oversimplify it, shoe 2 through 49 are essentially just white and gray Nike Dunk Lows with different colored laces. And that's honestly what I thought it was up until I actually got this shoe in hand and saw the pairs that other people had. I really thought that it was all the exact same sneaker with different colored laces. But I'm happy to report that when you actually dive into each colorway, you'll notice that there are some pretty nice differences between each version. Oh, and I forgot to mention how the release of this shoe actually took place. So the way the sneaker released was through exclusive access on the Sneakers app, which means I didn't get anything. Nike says it's based on interaction with the app, but Osman hasn't opened the app in like a year and a half. He got these and the Sakai's, and I use the app every single day. I watch every video, I like everything, I comment on every live stream, I buy as many sneakers as I can, and I still have not gotten exclusive access to anything. But what makes this release even more interesting is that when you bought this shoe, you had no idea what lot number you were getting. Most likely, if you were given exclusive access, you were going to get one of the white and gray pairs, but there was a chance that you would get lot 1, the all-white pair, or lot 50, the all-black pair. And obviously, because those colorways were the most exclusive and most limited, those colorways resell for like double what these pairs do. So when my friend actually got exclusive access to this pair, he didn't know which lot number he was getting. We assumed it was going to be a white and gray pair, but we didn't know for sure. And I'm going to be honest, I really think he got one of the best colorways in the entire collection. I know they don't vary that much, but this sort of blue and yellow thing going on is really, really fire. And in case you were wondering, this shoe is lot 2 of 50, and in my opinion, it's the best shoe in the entire collection. I don't know how he got lucky enough to get this shoe, but I think it looks better than both the white pair, the black pair, and pretty much every other white and gray pair out there. And if you're like me, one of the unlucky ones who wasn't given exclusive access to this shoe, I've made sure to leave an affiliate link to GOAT in the description below if you guys want to check out the resale prices on any of the pairs, and in particular, I'm leaving a link to this one because, like I said, this one's my favorite. But before we dive any deeper into the sneaker itself, let's take a quick look at the box, because honestly, the box is pretty crazy. So this is the Off-White, the 50 box, and I've got to be honest, this is one of the coolest Nike boxes I've seen in a very long time. First off, this box is designed so that it can work for any pair in the 50 collection, and the way that you can tell which pair of the collection that you have from the outside of the box is that someone's actually hand marked with Sharpie which pair that you have, which I think is super cool. So obviously this pair is lot 2 of 50, and they marked it off with a little black Sharpie check mark, which I think is awesome. On a majority of the box, you've got this natural cardboard finish, which is pretty standard for a pair of off-white sneakers. However, there are a couple things that make this box super interesting. And the first thing that really caught my eye was this sort of tape detail that wraps around the edges of the box. So obviously these edge details are not actually hand taped. That would be ridiculous for someone to hand tape thousands and thousands of boxes. It's just a printed detail, but the way they made it look like duct tape or black electrical tape is super, super cool. And I love the way it's only on certain parts of the box. It really makes the box look like someone actually taped it together, which I think is awesome. Of course, as you can see, you've got these giant punch outs through the box, which we've actually seen on a couple other Off-White collaborations, most notably the Air Jordan 5s. And as you can see through the holes, and even better when I take off the lid of the box, you've got this yellow paper with the Off-White branding printed onto it. In the center of the box, you've got what looks like a hand-drawn Nike logo as well as some Off-White branding. And then on the bottom right-hand corner of the box, you've got this little tag that says it's a Nike sportswear sneaker, it's part of the fall collection for 2021, all that sort of good stuff. And then rounding off the box, on the front of the box, you've got the actual size tag. Actually, now that I'm looking at the size tag, it does look like they tell you the actual colorway of the sneaker in the box, just not the lot number. So this tag says Nike Dunk Low, Sail, Neutral Gray, Blue, Fury, which is, I believe, the laces. I don't know where I put the shoe, but yeah, it's a lace color. And the retail price for this pair is $180, which I've got to be honest is insanely high for a pair of Dunks. I know it's a pair of Off-White Dunks, but that's pretty expensive. But that's pretty much all there is to the box. I've got to say it's one of the most interesting and honestly cool looking boxes I've seen in a long time. But now let's actually dive into the sneaker itself and find out what materials make up lot 2 of 50. So starting off in the mud guard of the shoe, you've got this really nice light gray leather material. One thing that's really interesting about this collaboration is that even though lot 2 through 49 feature the same colors on the upper, the materials on the upper do change up. So on this pair, the mud guard comes in leather, but on other pairs, it comes in a super hairy suede. And I've got to be honest, while I like the colors of lot 2, I think I prefer the materials of the suede version, but that's just my own personal opinion. Moving up from the mudguard to the toe, you've got this perforated white canvas material. And again, while I don't mind the canvas, I really do think I prefer the suede version, which features suede on the gray areas and leather on the white areas. I'm really just being picky at this point, but I feel like with 50 different pairs, there should be one that's this colorway with those materials. Actually, maybe there is. I'm not sure. I haven't seen all 50. I'm not going to take the time either. It's too much work. Continuing up on the shoe, you've got more gray leather around the eye stays of the sneaker, and weaving through the eye stays, you've got these flat white laces. Now, of course, as you can see, these flat white laces are not the only laces found on this sneaker. I mean, you take one look at the sneaker, and the first thing that jumps out at you are the other laces, these bright blue rope laces. So these secondary rope laces are overlaid on top of the standard laces and weave through these tiny little, like, wire things that kind of look like fly wire that peep out of these little metal eyelets. This was a feature that first debuted on the original Off-White Nike Dunks it released a couple years back, and honestly, it's the most unique and original part of the shoe. You can, if you want, remove these outer laces and make the shoe look a little bit more normal, but if you do that, you're gonna have these like stupid little metal eyelets just kind of sitting there in the middle of the shoe, and in my opinion, it looks kind of dumb. I don't love these outer laces in every color. I feel like in some colors they just look bad, but in this blue color, especially paired against this yellow on the sneaker, it pops. I will say though that it is weird tying two different sets of laces on the same shoe. It's not as weird as tying two laces together like on the Sacai Fragment Nike LD Waffles, but it's still pretty weird. Of course, at the end of both sets of laces, you've got the word shoelaces printed in black. However, the tips of the blue rope laces are actually dipped in wax, which I think is a very nice and premium feeling finish. Attached to the laces, as you've probably already noticed, you've got the Off-White hang tag. On lot 2 of 50, the hang tag comes in yellow, and in my opinion, looks really clean on top of this sneaker. I've never really been a big fan of wearing the hang tag with my Off-White sneakers, but on this pair, it does kind of add a lot to the sneaker. I think it adds a nice contrast, and if I had this pair myself, I probably would wear it with the hang tag. I know it's crazy, but I think I would. And also in a kind of cool detail, the hang tag actually does feature the lot number on it. Underneath the laces, you've got this bright yellow nylon tongue, and for the first time on a pair of Off-White Nike Dunks, you've actually got a hole punch through the tongue. It's actually a feature that was first debuted on the Off-White Air Jordan 5s, I believe. It might have been on another pair, but I think it started with the 5s, at least on the tongue. You can actually see the punch-out details on the pair of Off-White 5s in this really sick picture we got for our Apothecary booth in Atlantic City. Check that out. Also, if you peep the socks in the on-foot section of this video, they're tie-dye. They're crazy. Last tie-dye collection of the year. Make sure to grab it September 3rd. A kind of cool detail is that the shoe actually does feature a Nike tag on the tongue, except this time around it's on the side of the tongue and comes with the old school Nike logo. Moving inside the sneaker, lot 2 of 50 actually features this really nice white leather sock liner. Now, I don't actually know if this leather sock liner is on every pair in the collection because up until this point, this is the first pair that I've seen in person, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not, and each pair features a different kind of material on the sock liner. The insole of the shoe comes in bright yellow, matching the tongue and the hang tag, and features off-white branding printed on the heel in black. Now, as far as sizing and fit is concerned, this pair of off-white Nike Dunk Lows seems to fit just like every other pair of Nike Dunk Lows, or at least recent Nike Dunk Lows. For me, that's true to size, but for you it might be something different. So I definitely suggest trying on a pair of Nike Dunk Lows if you have the option to before you buy this pair, just to make sure you're grabbing the right size for you. However, if you don't have that option, you should be able to go true to size and be just fine. Continuing back in the shoe to the midfoot, you've got more of that white canvas material, and then on top of the canvas, you've got a gray leather Nike swoosh. Now, obviously, being an off-white Nike collaboration, the lateral side and the medial side of the shoe are actually pretty different. Moving towards the heel of the shoe, you've got this bright green tag at the end of the Nike swoosh. I kind of would have preferred if that came in yellow, like the tongue, the sock liner, and also the hang tag, but for some reason they decided to make it green. And then just beneath that tab, sort of pressed into the leather in metallic silver, you've got what seems to be the release window, fall 21, and then what could be the style code. I'm not 100% sure. But then we move around to the medial side of the shoe and everything changes. So on the medial side of the shoe, or the inside of the shoe, instead of having that little green tab, you've actually got this giant paragraph pressed into the side of the sneaker in that same metallic silver. Now, if you're familiar with off-white Nike collaborations at all, you know exactly what this is. It's on every single pair of off-white Nikes, but on this pair it comes in silver, which I think actually makes it look a lot cleaner and a lot more premium. And it gets this nice shine in the light, and I just really dig that detail. I wish I had done that on more sneakers. But then we move around to the heel of the shoe, where you find more leather and more canvas, and at the top of the ankle you've got the Nike logo pressed into the heel in black. Then moving down on the sneaker, you get to this ironically off-white colored midsole, or I guess more realistically aged colored midsole. And then on the heel of the lateral side, you've got this sort of green marbled rubber extrusion, which tells you which lot number you got. And then finally, rounding off the entire sneaker, you've got a light gray rubber outsole. Overall, I feel like the off-white Nike Dunk Low, the 50 collection, is one of those collections that really grew on me. I really didn't want to like it. I really didn't want to succumb to the hype, but I did. And honestly, this is a really, really great sneaker. I hate to say it, but I might be paying resale for this shoe. Now, I don't know if I'm going to grab one that comes in suede or if I'm going to grab lot 2 of 50 because I like the colors, but I might need a pair. At face value, this shoe is not that interesting. We've seen other off-white Nike Dunk Lows before, but what makes this sneaker interesting is the release procedure and the fact that there are 50 different colorways of this shoe. That's kind of insane. But with that, we pretty much wrap up the entire review for today. Now, I would love to know your thoughts on the off-white Nike Dunk Lows and whether you got exclusive access or whether you're like me and you didn't. So let me know all those things in the comment section down below. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.